if you've been riding for any period of time, you've probably heard somebody talk about pedaling in circles, or maybe you've even heard about when somebody's really fatigued or their pedal stroke has fallen apart, they're talking about pedaling in squares. But it begs the question, when we pedal, do our feet really move in circles? And the answer to that might kind of surprise you, and it's not as simple as it seems. So let me show you what I mean. So when we're trying to answer this question of what path or what shape our feet take as we go through our pedal stroke, or is it round, is it circular? One thing to note is it's going to kind of depend on what part of the foot we're talking about, and we'll get into that. But the first thing to note is that our foot is actually going to be further from the point that it's rotating around at the top of the pedal stroke than at the bottom. So we have our bottom bracket, which is what the cranks connect to. It's right in here, center of the crankset. And at the bottom of the pedal stroke here, our foot is above the pedal. Okay, and so it's actually closer to the bottom bracket than when we are up here at the top of the pedal stroke. So at the top of the pedal stroke now, it's further from this bottom bracket right there because we add in the distance on top of the pedal that the foot is sitting. So I want to get that out of the way right away. So it's, we're not going to have necessarily a completely round pedal stroke as a result of that, but it's fairly mild. So if we go and we're going to take a look, like I said, we're going to come back here and take a look at what part of the foot. Well, let's start with the metatarsal, or the balls of the feet. So I had a white dot on that, and as we run that, you can kind of see that the path that the metatarsal takes is pretty circular. And so it seems like, oh, well, the foot does move in a circular pattern. Well, it's mostly circular. It's not perfect, of course, because it sits above and the pedal itself and the pedal spindle. But I also prefer to have my cleats further forward on my shoe. And so as I come further forward here, my metatarsal is actually further from the bottom bracket. So this circle is actually, the center of it is actually in front of the bottom bracket a little bit. It's kind of shifted in this picture, this whole circle is shifted to the right of center from the bottom bracket. But, not a big deal. It's actually fairly round. Never quite 100%, but pretty close. Now, there's going to be some variance between individuals. Take this rider, for instance. Still close to circular, but it's his path of his metatarsal is a bit more squished. It's a little taller than it is wide. It kind of moves more up and down and less left to right, you might say. But not terrible. It's still mostly circular, but still there's going to be some variation. But now let's take a different part of the foot. Let's take a look at what the ankle is doing. So I had an ankle dot set here, and I had the software here follow that. And let's check out the path that the ankle takes. Let me slow that down. We'll restart this. So the ankle motion is quite a bit different. Mine will settle in here. You'll see in a couple of pedal strokes that it kind of takes on somewhat of an egg shape almost. It actually does come to a bit of a peak at the top here, and it has sort of a wider, rounder base to it. And this is pretty typical. Of course, again, there's going to be variations. So now we have these two different shapes. The part of the foot, and this makes sense, the part of the foot that's closest to the pedal, the metatarsal, moves in a more circular pattern, and the ankle kind of has this strange egg shape. So, okay, we got that. Who cares, right? What does this mean? What does it matter to us? Well, what it tells us is that when the ankle and then the metatarsal move, and they have divergent paths. They basically move in a much different way from one another. So the less round the motion, you might say, at the ankle. What this means is that the ankle is doing more to coordinate, and it's actually just performing more motion through the pedal stroke. I've done a video in the past, and I will link that above here. But our ankle, that's part of its job, where it acts to coordinate the pedal stroke, to smooth things so that we can come through on the top And then towards the bottom of the power phase, we can transition to moving backwards. So smooths and gets the foot through the top of the pedal stroke, and then power phase, and then down through the bottom of the pedal stroke. We rely on this coordination, and it actually has to, this is all of course done in slow motion, as you can see from this, but it has to do this very quickly, and that's a lot of coordination that has to take place. So what this tells us is the more divergent the paths are. So when our ankle motion is even less round, if it comes maybe even to more of a point or has some other strange shape to it, the more divergent the path is of the ankle from the metatarsal, this tells us that the ankle is doing more. It might be doing too much, because we certainly can have, some of the ankle doing this work is great. It helps coordinate things, but we can certainly have too much of a good thing. And when we do this, we're asking too much of the ankle and of its supporting structures, like for instance the Achilles, the calf muscles. Many people that have cramps in their calves or in their feet, because doing this also requires more of the intrinsic foot muscles to stabilize things, because the calf muscles are helping to stabilize the ankle, but then these foot muscles are helping to stabilize the foot, because we are asking the ankle to exert force and move sometimes we are more toe down, like in this position, and then other times we are in less toe down, like when we come through the middle of the pedal stroke and we are kind of in a flatter foot position. Now the knee moves in a pretty normal, pretty basic arc here. And so this kind of throws one more monkey wrench into things. We have to allow the knee this very simple pattern. And so the ankle has a lot of work to do to allow that to some extent. What can we do when our ankle is moving in a path that's too different? We're asking too much of it. Well, we can manipulate things to simplify the path of the ankle. Well, and how do we do this? One of the simplest things we can do is to simply bring the cleats back on the shoe a little bit. Now, what that does is, you can see the pedal right there, and so there's my pedal right there. And if I were to bring the cleats even further back, mine are sitting pretty far back already, but if I bring the cleats further back, that's going to move the foot forward on the pedal. It's also going to take this ankle position, and instead of being this far from the pedal, now if we move the whole foot forward, now we're that much closer. So let's just for the sake of argument, let's say we put the cleats in the midfoot, and so my foot here would be moved all the way forward. Now my ankle is only that far from where the pedal is going to be. So now my ankle is going to have a much more circular pattern to it. This may not seem like a big deal, but it's going to take a lot of strain off of the calf muscles, off the Achilles, off the intrinsic foot muscles, and even off the toes to some extent. And it's going to require less from the ankle. It'll have to do less coordinating. It'll have a simpler time of making its way around through the pedal stroke. And now this is an exaggeration, but many people can benefit from just simplifying the amount of work that their ankle has to do through the pedal stroke, just by a small change in the cleat position. It can often go a long way. This is one of the reasons that midfoot cleat placement has actually gained some popularity, and because it does simplify things for the foot and ankle, and it eliminates a whole bunch of problems. And while it's not for everybody, it certainly doesn't fit in every scenario. I think it's actually something that would certainly benefit more people. So clearly it's not a simple thing, and there's actually quite a bit going on. And to an extent, this ankle motion that coordinates our pedal stroke is a good thing. However, certainly we can have too much of a good thing, and that's why there are situations where we might want to simplify our pedal stroke, as I talked about. Let me know what you think of this video. Was it kind of what you expected to see as far as the motion occurring at the foot? So anyways, thanks everybody. I will see you on the next one.